Hi families, my name is Rachel Guernsey and today I am going to be talking to you about phonological and phonemic awareness and how these skills are essential to developing literacy for our young children. So to start, first to be successful in literacy, children should first have sufficient language and conceptual knowledge, vocabulary, and good verbal reasoning abilities to really help them understand written text. When teaching our young students how to read, it is important to first help them become aware of how the sounds in words work and understand that words are made up of individual speech sounds or phonemes. One of the biggest challenges for children is to make sense of all the words that are coming to them from their parents, teachers, etc., and then really having to begin to put meaning to those words. And so the phonemes are the individual sounds that make up the spoken words, and that's not to be confused with phonics, which is more of the relationship between sounds and letters in written language. Just to clarify that. So therefore, phonemic awareness is critical in helping children recognize how the words they use in their oral language every day are also represented in print. And developing important literacy skills such as this phonemic awareness and phonological awareness really ultimately help children become successful readers. Phonological awareness is a critical early literacy skill that helps children recognize and work with the sounds of spoken language. Some of these skill activities for phonological awareness include being able to identify words that rhyme, counting the number of syllables in a name, recognizing alliteration, segmenting a sentence into words, and also identifying the syllables in a word. Phonemic awareness is that next step in developing our young students' literacy, is it's the ability to really notice and think about and work with all the individual sounds or phonemes in the spoken words. Phonemic awareness really helps children to manipulate the sounds in the words through techniques like blending, stretching, or even changing words. Another great technique is using big mouth movements and gestures, pointing to your mouth, and even saying, to the children, watch my lips when I make this sound. And these techniques all help children to really, identify those unique features of the phonemes that they're learning. And children can also practice this skill through activities like recognizing which words in a set of words begin with the same sound, such as bat, ball, and boy all have the letter B at the beginning. Another example is isolating and saying the first or last sound in a word, like the beginning sound of dog is D, or the ending sound of sit is T. Combining separate sounds in a word to say the word, or separating sounds in a word, like, for example, saying p equals the word map. Really kind of breaking that word up into the sounds that it makes. These are all great examples of phonemic awareness. Both of these developmental skills of the phonemic and phonological awareness are critical in helping children learn how to read as they really start to pay attention to the individual sounds of words. And when we provide an environment for our children that introduces them to this way of thinking, and by providing them with many different activities, that are fun. We got to make sure our activities are always fun and interesting for them, and we're providing lots of different types of material that all focus their attention around the sounds of these words and how these sounds form words are really important. And then lastly, it's critical to make sure that we're incorporating differentiated instruction as well, so we can really adapt and adjust to our individual students' needs. Our students are always at different levels depending on their background, what they're coming in, how much language they've been exposed to, vocabulary, things like that. And so all students will be at different levels. And it's always important to always be assessing the phonological and phonemic awareness within our instruction to really ensure that Are the children understanding and becoming aware of the sounds of words? So another point is there are many interdependent literacy skills that are key in helping with early reading development. So some of these skills include print concepts, letter naming, vocabulary, phonological awareness, like we've talked about, listening and speaking comprehension. And I'm just going to go over these and talk a little bit about what exactly they are and some activities that you can do to teach your children these skills. So first, print concepts and knowledge, for example, such as print functions, book handling, pre-alphabetic writing. This is all important as it introduces children to general written print. So a small group activity for teaching print concept skills is reading a story from a book. And before reading that book, discussing the actual book and identifying the front cover, the back cover, and the title page of the book. If you have students with exceptional needs, you can actually provide them with a physical book that they can hold and touch, and have them touch the front cover, turn it over, touch the back cover, open it up, look and touch the title page. And it's more of a manipulative approach for them, and they're doing it along with you. Phonological awareness, like we've been discussing, that's a product of vocabulary development and vocabulary rates, and it helps the children really think about the sounds and the words. And a small group activity for teaching phonological awareness could be to have the children practice rhyming. And an example would be having them to find rhyming matches using picture cards. So each child in the group would get a card with a picture on it, and they would take an individual turn to find a picture there might be a pile of other individual cards, and they have to find a picture that matches the card they're holding. And matching meaning it must rhyme with the card they're holding. So for example, if their card has a cat on it, they will want to look in their pile of cards for a matching rhyming card, say, in this case, bat. So they would want to find the bat, which matches their rhyming card of cat. This is a really great little small group activity for the kids to do. And your children with exceptional needs, they might be more guided through this activity with modeling from the teacher and even their peers, watching them do the rhyming matches, or they might need help in finding the matches. Teaching vocabulary words is another important literacy skill, and this can be done through activities such as read-alouds or shared book reading. A small group activity to help with building vocabulary is the say, tell, and do technique. So, for example, the teacher could hold up a card with a word and a picture of that word on it, and then each child has to go around and they're encouraged to say, tell about, and enact a gesture or do something in association with that target word. For your students with exceptional needs, they might need to be provided with a little bit more visual cues around the vocabulary word, or some help to help them identify with the word and really understand the word, and so they can provide you with the say, tell, and do technique. They just might have to be coached a little more with that. Letter naming is another skill. This also supports phonological awareness and then later phonemic awareness. A great example for an activity to use letter naming is using an alphabet word wall and practicing letters and even words on this word wall, and it really helps children to identify letters and words in print. And so as a small group activity, the students can discuss the different words or letters on the word wall, and these words or letters could be the words and letters that have been discussed throughout the day or even the week, certain sight words that the teacher's been going over, or the letter of the day or letter of the week. words and letters that they're familiar with, and can gradually be put on this word wall. And then as in the small group activity, the students can kind of read off the word wall and discuss um, the letters and the words. The teacher can even point to a letter and then ask the children to name it. For students with exceptional needs, they would just maybe practice more individual letter cards in a small group activity. So instead of a big word wall with lots of words or letters on it, they may just practice letter naming with individual cards. And so they're more focused on that one letter. Oral language comprehension skills are another one, very highly predictive in a child's reading comprehension abilities and then later reading achievement, as it really is the foundation of a child's vocabulary. And when children are provided opportunities to speak and practice their oral language, they can really comprehend the words that they're practicing. A small group activity to use for speaking comprehension is dramatic play. So when children can get in a little group and they can use and play with objects in a play area in the classroom, it really prompts this great spontaneous interaction and conversation among the children. And they might even retell a story that the teacher read that morning or that week that they remember or that they heard, and they act it out. For the students with exceptional needs, they just may need a little bit of help remembering a story to act out. They may need some more picture prompts to help tell a story, and for them to be more engaged in acting out and conversating. Finally, listening comprehension is another huge one in helping early reading development, especially for children in a language-rich, supportive home and school environment that are exposed to these great substantive conversations, interactive storybook reading, dramatic play. This is all huge in growing their listening skills. So an example of an activity would be interactive storybook reading in a small group. This is a great strategy to use in developing their listening comprehension skills, and it really keeps the children engaged and keeps them discussing the book as well as they're listening to it. It's a great activity to use in small groups, as it gives a chance for all students to discuss what they're hearing about the book rather than a whole class, just maybe one or two of them speaking up. Each individual has a chance to really listen and discuss what they're hearing. And for students with exceptional needs, the teacher may need to help those students by asking specific questions about the book to get them engaged and to get them to listen, or even what they liked about the book, just prompting some questions for them. So those are just all a lot of different activities to use for these important literacy skills, and they're just great examples that really provide and give you an overall general content of early literacy for our children. Thanks. Have a great day.